a grand, sparkling castle under a starry sky, where a voice announces that it is now time and the summoning shall begin. An official asks if the 3 participants are ready, revealing 3 women waiting in anticipation. One woman with long red hair smiles, excited that it's finally their turn, while another chats eagerly beside her. Standing slightly apart, a blonde woman with a jewel necklace looks nervous and gulps. An official wearing a tall hat reaches out and instructs someone to hold out their hand. The red-haired woman directs someone, telling them this is the right way. In the summoning chamber, a bright light flashes from a magic circle on the floor as an announcer presents the first Princess Mary and the second Princess Odette. Princess Mary is delighted, blushing and exclaiming, "Oh my," as a handsome man appears before her. Princess Odette also blushes and says, "Wow," squeezing the hand of her own summoned partner. Princess Mary glances sideways, wondering what kind of husband will be summoned for the worthless third princess. Elsewhere, the official bows, asking if the event is exciting. Princess Mary is then shown linking arms with her handsome new partner, who looks a bit confused, and she thanks him while telling him to come along. The announcer congratulates both Princess Mary and Princess Odette. Now alone, the third princess, Marie, walks forward, thinking about her own husband-to-be. She is determined to show everyone what she is capable of and hopes she might be able to realize her wish here, eagerly wanting to meet him soon. The official tells her to hold out her hand, and as she does, her hand shines brightly while she focuses intently. A powerful light erupts, and a man suddenly appears, yelling, "Gra!" He is grabbing his hair in frustration, shouting and damning his boss for pushing all the work onto him. Princess Marie stares in wide-eyed shock at his chaotic arrival. The man continues ranting that his boss just goes to cabarets while he is the only busy one at the office. Marie observes this disheveled, unshaven, and wrinkled man who thinks he's so busy. She slowly realizes this man is supposed to be her. As someone off-panel makes a sound, Marie turns pale, bringing her hands to her face as she mouths the word, "Husband?" The summoned man stumbles forward, looking around in confusion and wondering where he is. He says he was just working overtime. Seeing this, the other princesses and the crowd burst into loud laughter, causing the man to flinch. Princess Mary leans toward Marie, giggling behind her fan, and whispers that a man like that probably can't satisfy her at night. Princess Odette adds, Your husband's so old," while another onlooker calls him nondescript. The crowd continues to giggle and whisper. The summoned man, looking exhausted, wonders if he's okay or if he's worked himself so hard that he's just having a weird dream. Princess Mary smirks at Marie, asking if she has a complaint. Marie glares back at her sister, clenching her fist. When Mary asks what the glare is for, Marie quickly backs down, saying, not at all. The man sighs and begins to speak, pointing out that it's disruptive to pull someone out of their work against their will. He says he doesn't know if he's in some kind of isekai anime, but that surely some kind of explanation is typical in these situations. He then adds that being disappointed by someone's appearance is just rude. As he observes that they all look like nobility, Marie is shown blushing deeply at his words. Suddenly, Marie steps forward and performs a deep, graceful curtsy. She offers her humblest apologies for not introducing herself sooner. Looking up at the man, she addresses him as her dear husband. She formally introduces herself as Marie, the third princess of the kingdom. She admits she lacks proficiency in many areas but states that she will be in his care from here on out, leaving the man staring in total bewilderment. The man who was summoned looks up in shock at the grand interior, exclaiming, "Husband!" He stares up at the high ceilings, complaining that his neck hurts from looking and noting how huge the place is. He wonders if he's in another country. Outside, the massive, multi-turreted castle is shown. Princess Marie stands before him, offering her apologies for her response to his appearance earlier. The man just looks at her, touching the back of his neck, as Marie explains that her behavior was truly rude and inappropriate to show towards her husband. Marie goes on to explain that in this world, princess candidates summon men from other worlds. They marry these men in order to bring prosperity to their kingdoms, and this has been their custom since ancient times. The man looks doubtful, asking if she's serious, and Marie confirms that it's right. He processes this, asking if the term husband means he was really called here to be her husband. Marie confirms this, stating he was chosen and summoned to become her husband. The man then clarifies that she is the third princess. He suddenly laughs and says, "Aha," feeling uneasy. He comments that he's pretty unlucky, but figures she has it rough too for getting an old, unattractive guy like him. Marie looks surprised, And as an image of a generic, good-looking guy appears, she frantically waves her hands and insists that is not true at all. Marie then dashes forward, blushing as she protests, "That isn't true." She gets very close to him, saying that even though she apologized, her actions were still inexcusable. The man is startled by her closeness and says, "Whoa, slow down," as she presses against him. He thinks to himself that he'll just go with the flow, treating it like a dream. Marie, looking somber, continues that it is their place to welcome him. She admits that what she is able to do doesn't amount to much, but she wants him to know that if there's anything he desires at all, he should please tell her. Later, in a private room, the man plops down onto a chair with a loud thump. He sighs, "Phew," and says, "All right," relieved that he can finally sit. He comments that the chairs in a castle are on another level of comfy, while Marie watches him. Marie then sits down herself, looking shaky and making a "caw" sound. She smiles at him, saying that come to think of it, she never got his name. Internally, Marie is fretting, realizing that a man who isn't a servant is in her room. She tries to calm herself, thinking it's okay and this wasn't what she practiced. She tells herself, "You can do it, Marie," reasoning that this will be normal soon since they'll be married. Marie's thoughts are interrupted when she realizes the man is fast asleep. She is visibly disappointed and flustered, thinking that this happened right after she had steeled her heart to seduce him and show her prowess. She wonders why this had to happen now. The man is sitting upright, snoring and sleep-talking. He mutters, "Thank you for your help." "Yes, understood, and understood. Have a good night." His sleep talk turns distressed as he yells, "I'm sorry. It won't happen again, and, yeah, do more work." Stupidest boss. Marie watches, her heart beating, as she wonders if this is all sleep talk or if he's been talking to someone. Marie looks down at the sleeping man. She remembers him saying he would go with the flow like it was a dream and how he said it was rude to pull someone from their work. She thinks to herself that he must have had a hard life too. She wonders what kind of life he led in his world that would leave him so exhausted. Marie then sadly reflects that she still doesn't know the name of her dear husband. Leaning closer, Marie giggles softly, thinking he's adorable, like a cat. She observes his long eyelashes and his ruffled hair. She reaches out and gently drapes a blanket over him, worried it will fall if he stirs. As she does, the man mumbles, "Hey," and rubs his face, nearly waking up. Marie jumps back in alarm, her heart pounding. She blushes, wondering what just happened. As the man yawns on and stretches, he says, "Phew, what a nap." Marie stares intently as she notices something twitching and wiggling. Her eyes go wide as she realizes his manhood is upright and standing. She's shocked, thinking it's much bigger than she imagined. She wonders if all men get that big or if it's just her husband's. As the man settles back to sleep, Marie gulps, staring at the sight. She thinks to herself, "He is upright, right in front of my eyes, and I can't let this chance." Princess Marie suddenly lunges forward, shaking and screaming "Kva" as she grabs for the man's pants. He jumps back in a panic, yelling "W" and asking what she was just about to do. He exclaims that he's the one who should be screaming, while noting to himself that while he has good reason to be mad, she seems to be holding together well. Marie, meanwhile, is determined, thinking, "You won't lose." She drops to her knees and clasps her hands, stunning the man as she begs, "Let me bear your child, and, I beg you, give me your seed." The man looks down, clenching his fist, and tells her to listen. He says she shouldn't beg an old guy she didn't even choose to do something like that to her. Marie, however, bows her head deeply to the floor, insisting, but, and please, as I've just said," adding that she will even bow her head for it. The man tells her to hold up and cut it out, saying she shouldn't beg for this. He crouches down and asks her to first look up at him. Marie looks up, tears dripping from her eyes, and whispers that this is her wish. The man reacts with an irk, and again tells her to cut it out. Marie, still crying, continues to plead, "Please, otherwise," and asks if she is unable to satisfy him. She grabs his leg, looking desperate as she pants, and says that if she can't produce an heir. The man says, "Gah," as she calls him, "dear husband." He tries to reassure her, saying he may not seem reliable, but he is mature, though Marie insists that's not the issue. Finally, the man says he gets the picture and gently lifts her up. He tells her to relax as Marie, blushing and nervous, says, "W, wait." She thinks to herself that she's hardly, or rather, never done this before. The man tells her it's okay and that she won't hate it at all. He leans in and touches her side, thinking that she seems sensitive but her body is very tense. Marie jolts and gasps at his touch. The man's hand presses on her dress as he tells her she needs to be a little more wet. He then asks if he can move her hand. He gently takes her hand and guides it down her own dress. Marie jolts repeatedly, covering her blushing face with her other hand as he makes her touch herself. She gasps, "H," and pants, her body twitching as she thinks, "That's..." The man leans in close and quietly asks if it hurts. Marie, panting, replies, "Then." Her heart thumps as she realizes he's been worried about her this whole time. He tells her to say so if it gets to be too much, adding that watching her feel good feels better to him. Marie is suddenly startled, exclaiming, "Wait, what are you?" as the man moves his head down. He then begins to pleasure her with his mouth. Marie gasps, "Ah," and "D," her body jolting and panting. As she continues to react, the man comments, "You're squirting so much." Marie writhes on the bed, trembling and panting that she can't, as her body jolts. The man sits up, stroking her hair as he thinks to himself, "A virgin princess, huh?" He sits on the edge of the bed, looking back at her and wondering, "Now then, what should I do?" Kyotaro smirks and agrees that it's good, suggesting they should eat before the food gets cold. As Marie watches him with a smile, she thinks to herself how kind her husband is and resolves to do her best. Kyotaro then asks her what's on her mind and apologizes for being so blunt, but he directly asks her how he can get back to his own world. This sudden question leaves Marie looking completely shocked. Kyotaro plainly explains his situation, stating that he was summoned right in the middle of his work and can't imagine what his boss will say. He figures that since she summoned him, there must be a way to send him back, as simply sleeping and waking up didn't accomplish it. Marie looks very flustered, apologizing and saying, "Right?" Kyotaro just smiles at her reaction. Marie reflects internally that being with Kyotaro makes her happy in so many ways and feels like floating on clouds, even though he didn't choose to come here. She explains that she is not a priestess, so she doesn't know the summoning details, but she agrees there must be a way to send him back. She promises to search for a way to return him to his world as soon as she can. However, she then reaches her hand out to him, asking if he will help her bear a child in the meantime. Kyotaro lets out a sigh, reminding her that he told her she can't just ask for something like that as if it's nothing. This causes Marie to slam her hands on the table. She pants heavily and shouts back that this is not nothing to her. Kyotaro just looks at her, momentarily speechless. Kyotaro says, "I'm sorry," and gently places his hand over hers on the table. He looks at her small, untouched plate and wonders to himself if she is staking her entire life on just being able to live here. He then looks at her kindly and says, "Oh, I'll help you." Marie looks up in surprise, but Kyotaro clarifies, "I'm sorry, Marie, but I can't grant you your wish." Instead, he asks if she could lend him her hand for something else. Kyotaro narrates that this brings things to the present. Since he had nothing else to do, all he did was watch Marie. He recalls trying to look for clues himself, but the head maid hit him. He also found he couldn't read the books in the room. He watched as Marie spent the whole time studying silently on her own, and he noticed that no one paid her any mind, not even the maids who walked past her in the hall. Lying on a nearby couch, Kyotaro calls out, "Hey," and asks her, "Isn't this tough?" Marie, still facing her desk, simply replies, "No, it isn't." Kyotaro sits up on the couch, saying that it looks hard on her from his perspective. Marie turns around in her chair and asks why he would ask such a thing. He hesitates, trying to find the right words, and asks if it isn't painful for her to be on edge all the time. Marie pauses to think before answering that it's because she can't ignore her situation. Marie begins to explain, stating that she is an illegitimate child. As Kyotaro has already seen, she is not treated well within the castle. She says her mother was probably treated just as poorly back then as she is now. She's thought about running away or disappearing many times. A flashback shows a young Marie at her mother's bedside, begging her to hold on and promising to stay by her side. Her mother, however, could only apologize, saying, "I'm sorry that I was." Marie explains that her mother's last words were, "I'm sorry," and she imagines her mother felt guilty for leaving her alone in such a difficult situation. Marie admits she can't quite remember her mother's final words, but Marie, blushing with emotion, says she wishes her mother had told her, "I love you," instead. Wiping a tear from her eye, she tells Kyotaro that she made her choice and that she doesn't mind being alone. She declares that she will not run away. Instead, she will study many things so she can be of use to the kingdom. She then stands, her dress flowing, and proclaims her ultimate goal. She will bear a child and she will take over this kingdom as its queen. Kyotaro just watches her, taking this all in. Marie finishes her declaration, saying she wants to be able to face her mother again proudly. She wants to tell her mother she lived a great life and was proud to have been her daughter. Kyotaro stands behind her, listening. As Marie stands by the open window, her hair blowing in the wind, Kyotaro simply watches her and says he understands. He then walks up to Marie and gently pats her on the head, telling her she is amazing. Marie blushes deeply, rubbing her head where he touched it. A small, cartoonish version of Marie appears, pointing out that Kyotaro's hair is messy, and he apologizes for it. Marie smiles, saying, "Tee-hee," and that it's all right. She thinks about how happy it made her, wondering how many years it has been since someone last patted her head like that. Kyotaro's expression then turns serious as he thinks about what to say next. Kyotaro, looking weighed down by rocks labeled, feeling, guilty, and now, mumbles to Marie. He points out that they didn't go all the way yesterday and says he would like to remedy that now if she wants. He internally sighs, thinking he saw this coming and that the conversation has steered back to this topic. Marie fidgets nervously and states that she wishes for him to make love to her. Kyotaro thinks to himself, "I knew she'd say that." He resigns himself to the situation and makes a new resolve. At the very least, he will make her feel so good that the next guy who gets summoned to be her husband can finish the job. Kyotaro agrees, declaring they will do it tonight, as an image of the castle at night is shown. Later, the bedroom door creaks open, and Marie enters, announcing, "Here I am." She has changed into a revealing sheer lingerie set, and the sight makes Kyotaro's heart pound. Blushing and fidgeting, Marie asks if she looks strange. Kyotaro, also blushing and stammering, manages to tell her she looks great. Internally, his heart thumps as he thinks that she is so stunning he forgot what he was going to say. Marie blushes bashfully at his compliment, which Kyotaro thinks makes her look even more dazzling to the point his eyes might burst. Marie's heart pounds as she shyly calls his name, "Kyotaro." She then wobbles on her feet and stumbles forward with a small, "ah." Kyotaro quickly lunges and catches her. He holds her and begins kissing her neck, causing Marie to shudder and pant, "ah." They fall onto the bed, and Kyotaro tells her he needs her to work hard for him with this as well. Marie shivers as she pants, her heart pounding. Kyotaro then slides his hand under her nightgown, thinking to himself that he is doing this part again today. He reassures Marie that it's okay and he will go slow, just as he did yesterday. Marie shivers and twinges as he begins to rub her gently. With her heart pounding, she closes her eyes and agrees, all right." She arches her back and gasps, "Ah," thinking about being with him. Kyotaro watches Marie squeeze her eyes shut and thinks that she is really tense. He reminds himself that it's only her second time, so he shouldn't push her. Marie pants and shivers, covering her mouth. As he rubs her, his other hand slides up her side, and he considers touching her elsewhere. Marie, however, suddenly shoves his hand away, crying out, "Please wait," and "No."